Elephants are gentle giants that can feel a wide range of emotions just like humans. It is common knowledge that they have a very good memory. But would this memory be enough to recognize a human after decades? Watch the video until the end, because it will amaze you. Daphne Hengkins was born on a large logging farm outside the village of Gilgil in Kenya. When she was 6 years old, she visited a nature reserve for the first time with her father. From that day on, it was clear to Daphne that her heart beat for animals. After she saw how incredible it was to be around beautiful and majestic animals all day, the young girl decided that she wanted to spend her future helping helpless animals. She wanted to give them a place where they were safe. Later, the young woman graduated from school at the top of her class, and even received a scholarship to study medicine. Such an offer did not come around often, and it was a unique opportunity for young Kenyans to break out of their poor circumstances. But Daphne turned it down to pursue her dream. Soon after, she met her future husband, David Sheldrick. He was the founding director of Tsavo National Park and as passionate about animals as she was. The two fell in love and married. It wasn't long before she became co-manager of the reserve. Working there and caring for the various wildlife was like a dream come true for Daphne. She and David helped rescue many wild animals, especially elephants that were orphaned. It was not uncommon for the animals' parents to die due to the current drought or due to various diseases. Often, however, they were killed by poachers who hunted these animals to get their infamous tusks, which they sold for a lot of money in the ivory trade. Daphne and her husband cared for the young animals and taught them useful skills, until they were mature enough to be released back into the wild. When the young couple gave birth to their baby Jill, their happiness seemed perfect. Daphne was overjoyed. She was living her dream and now they were a small family, but a few years later, a stroke of fate was to strike the young woman. After 17 happy years of marriage, Daphne lost her husband to a heart attack. After David's death, the grieving wife found it difficult to continue her mission. She took time off to grieve, and she was so hurt that she thought she would give up her work on the reservation. She couldn't bear to roam the park without David. But something inside her said she had to keep going. She couldn't give up, she had to keep going. Her husband's dream of making the world a better place for animals had to live on inside her. She had no idea at that time what a great miracle she would experience. Daphne established her own national park called Nairobi National Park. She focused on elephants and rhinos and fought for a global ban on ivory. Over time, she was honored with Kenya's highest award for animal welfare. She was also appointed Woman Commander of the Order of the British Empire by Queen Elizabeth II. One day, while visiting the park, she saw a newly orphaned elephant being brought in. The poor baby had just lost its entire family and was struggling to adjust to its new life. It wasn't the first time Daphne had cared for a baby elephant. But this time something was different. This elephant was clearly more affectionate than the others. There was a time when the elephant was so attached to Daphne that it refused to eat when she was away for 2 weeks. She named the elephant Kamba. The woman spent a lot of time with the animal and gave him a lot of love. She cuddled him, played with him or read him stories while he slept quietly next to her. Daphne had always had a deep bond with all the animals on the reservation, but this one was special. Most of all, the woman would have liked to keep Kamba. But she was of course aware that one day he would have to go. When he was big enough to be reintroduced, he would have to make room for a new animal. When the time came, Daphne hugged her little friend one last time. It was hard to say goodbye. In tears, the woman let the elephant go into the wild. She thought she would never see her faithful friend again. She could not know what would happen many years later. 28 years later, the national park still existed. Daphne was already an older lady and only helped out sporadically at the park. She had discomfort in her hip and could not work as hard as she used to, but this did not stop her from still being at the national park almost every day to admire her elephants. On a nondescript spring day, Daphne sat in the park as she often did, enjoying the day. But on this day, something was about to happen that amazed everyone. A herd of elephants was passing through the area. Of course, this was not unusual in this area at first, but the herd stopped in front of the entrance to the reserve. At first, people paid no attention to the event, but when the herd still did not move on after 20 minutes, the staff became curious. What was the herd doing here? Did they need help, or did they just happen to stand outside the gate for so long? When Daphne learned of the herd, she went to the location in question. She had gained a lot of experience with elephants over the years and accordingly knew her way around these pachyderms. Maybe she could find out what was the reason for the appearance of the herd. What happened next is unbelievable. When Daphne faced the animals, the largest elephant stepped out of the herd. The woman recognized from the animal's body language that this was not the first time he had faced a human. It took a moment before she realized who was there in front of her. "Kamba, is it you?" the woman asked, walking slowly toward the animal. Then she embraced the elephant. The latter behaved calmly and gently touched Daphne with its trunk. It was indeed Kamba, the elephant she had saved the life of back then. After all these years, he has not forgotten his surrogate mother, and today he thanked her. Everyone was amazed at the trust the animal showed. The herd stayed at the reserve for a while before finally heading back into the wild. As you can see, elephants don't forget. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for free.